Hi everyone, it's Achusi Kanku. Or well, maybe today you know me as Chinedu Kanu because I'm talking to my sister from Nigeria. So hi, I'm Chinedu Kanu. Today we got our guest from Nigeria here, and Sophie's going to introduce herself and tell us a bit about what she does, so then we can get into this conversation. You're welcome, Sophie.
Thank you very much, Chinedu Kadu.
Yeah, thank you.
Hi everyone. My name is Sophie Nei, but please call me Sophia. Like fire that burns, yes. And I'm the founder of Females in Gaming Network, and we're a Pan African network for women and girls who play and make games across the continent. So yeah.
Well, that's nice. Thank you. Very simple and straightforward. So,
Yeah.
this one is a bit tricky for me because the question is, why do we have to split the genders? Because I thought esports was more neutral. Why do we have to split the genders? Why do we have a female in gaming network?
In December, I partnered with French Embassy and Alliance Française, and we're talking about end gender-based violence. Beyond the event, right? I have been a victim of it. So when it comes to like video games, I have played games and had guys, men abuse me. I've heard words like your husband is asleep while you're awake. If you're, especially when you say you're married or something, or you're in a relationship, or you're not, trying to listen to people. I've heard things like, you're a girl, you should be asleep. Don't you have work? Don't you have food to cook? I've heard things like that said to me. So GBV was very important for us in December. So we partnered with the French Embassy and Alliance Française, and we were educating the girls. And one of the things we tried to do in FIGN, somebody asked me today, they were looking at the website and they saw a boy in one of the pictures and they were like, it's supposed to be for females only. And I said, the guys are like, they are stakeholders because they exist, and they help the girls. There are lots of guys that are willing to help. They are good partners that we can keep while it's still just female exclusive, right? And one of the things we talked about was the fact that there is a lot of safe spaces, to be honest, when you talk about esports. I know we're beginning to make rules and laws as we go, and it's becoming a bit safer. But a lot of girls are still apprehensive about joining the industry as a whole. I've met a lot of female-only teams. I was speaking with somebody recently, I think like 2 weeks ago, and she said that they are an all-girls Call of Duty team spread across Africa and like the rest of the world, and that many of the times they hear things like, "We're not going to play with your squad because you're all girls," So that's why it becomes problematic. I have been in squads where people discover I'm a girl and they're like, "Oh, there's a girl in our squad," And this was when I was playing Call of Duty competitively, So it discourages a lot of people. So if you're not like strong-headed like a couple of us, you don't even want to stay in this space, or if you don't have experience. So for people that are just joining, it's usually harder to keep them. So that's the need for, the separate spaces. One of the things I realize is that we're still going to compete with boys. So, for example, there's a tournament we're going to do soon. I'm not going into too much details, but what I've told them is that the girls are going to play a separate route, like separate playoffs, and then they're going to go straight to the quarters or the semis. We're still working on it, and they're like, I said, if I'm going to come in, that's how it's going to be, right? Because there are a lot of guys that are very, very good. So if she gets to the quarters or the semis and a guy takes her out, then that's okay, right? We know that she was able to perform at that level. But if she gets to the semis and beats the guy, we know because people were asking me, won't the guys feel offended that they had to play probably more rounds because there'll be probably more guys, But those are the things we're trying to do to, include women. And that's why we need a separate space to tell them, hey, see, you can, and we're educating the guys about how to, act when they see you in these spaces, and you can be a part of the space. And that's why we're making it exclusive for girls to teach them and, orient them and bring even more girls into the industry. Because right now, I know you've definitely read all the reports, and we have 45% of female players, and we don't even have up to 5% of them in, like at the pro level, and that's a very bad statistic, you know.
I'm not disagreeing with you. I'm here to try and extract a lot more from you.
Yeah,
I'm not disagreeing with you.
yeah,
So, I mean,
yes,
from what you said, I'm picking two things from there: creating a safe space and also competition. So, in creating a safe space, that's you trying to create tournaments, events, or opportunities for females. That's creating a safe
yes,
space. In competition, I mean, what we didn't elaborate on before we started was it's female in gaming. It's not just about esports, it's about game development, it's about animation, it's about esports, team management, it's about the creator economy, so
yes,
it's all about that. So probably we're using esports a bit more for the analogy, but even in all the other spaces, all these categories that we've spoken about do not require, they're equal opportunity scenarios. So when it comes to esports, why do we have to have a specific female tournament? Because it doesn't require any more than the same what do you call it, reactive pulses and the same mental strength. Is there a reason? Is it just for the safe spaces? Because if you're mixing in a bigger tournament where it's got both boys and girls, then why do you have to separate it? I can understand the normal route of just a female tournament, but when you've mixed it with boys, why do you want safe spaces? I mean, why do you want to have females at a different level or tangent?
okay. So that's why I said what I said for the one we're currently doing. I understand that we can have like female only tournaments, and that's why the one we're organizing this month, I am specific about, the girl going to quarters and playing with the guy. I could have said she should just, like, there should be an only females Mortal Kombat tournament, go to the finals, win it, and then we have a female. But I'm saying no, you're going to get to quarters and you're going to play with the guys. So I
Okay.
understand that at the global level we are going to mix, right? But one of the things we're doing, or one of the reasons we're creating, especially in, on the continent, we're creating a female only space, is because we're trying to bring more girls to play and to be able to, get into the ecosystem. Let's be honest. Actually, when you say it's the same reaction, the same mental capacity, we I think we talked about this one of the times, right? When you ask around, how many girls have PS5s? I mean, it's a serious thing. How many girls do their parents buy them PS5s or Nintendo Switches on the continent? You see the number dwindle. So, in terms of what's it called? Practice, repeated practice. Many of our male counterparts have more than us. Growing up, literally, it's our parents' fault, but it's truly nobody's fault. But our male counterparts already have like that experience. So what we're trying to do is bring people in first, train them to get that experience, and then they are able to take on the world, and that's a little buying power, right? We don't want to just push them a lot. And to be honest, a lot of times you want to do tournaments, and this is a global thing, and you see that not a lot of girls register because they feel that if they go and they compete with the guys,
Intimate.
they are going to be defeated. There's already this defeatist mindset that exists, and that's what we're trying to solve at FI Gym, to tell girls that, hey, see, you can play, and then amongst the girls that can play, to find the ones that are very strong and continuously train them. We've been doing esports 101 since February in my city. We're training girls consistently to say, hey, see, you can play. Currently, the one of the games I created, and I've not told you this, but one of the games I created is a girl that currently sits at the global leaderboard, and it's been played over 1,000 times. And I saw that was like, I think 4 or 5 days ago before I traveled. I saw that girl she beat a high score. And the funny thing about her is that she's not a pro gamer. Well, she saw the game and she's been playing the game for a while since I made it. So she's been practicing over and over, and that game is supposed to train esports athletes, and that's what we want. We want small consistencies, and over time, the leaderboard is not just for girls; it's a mix, and so we currently have a girl at the helm of it. So that's what we want. We want to bring them in little by little, and over time, we're going to let them, express themselves, like spread their wings and fly.
Now that'll be great. So I'm going to focus on Nigeria now, and then look at the wider picture. So Nigeria, and I know the good thing is that you're not in Lagos, so you're in Port Harcourt. I mean,
Yeah.
Nigeria is massive, and reaching a lot of females is going to be a lot of work. What is the uptake in Nigeria for females in gaming, in terms of engagement, not just for esports, but for all the other sectors, game development, animation, creativity, and all the other bits in between?
I'm going to be honest and say we're still building. To be honest, we're still building. I realized that Rome wasn't built in a day, and I literally had somebody once say to me, "Oh, a women group, girls don't talk on groups." So I literally had somebody say to me, and it becomes your reality, and then you realize that you have to do something about it. You have to make them speak. You have to make them play. Come out for the games. You have to make them excited, because with our male counterparts, a lot of the times when you're like a lot of gamer groups with boys, they don't keep quiet. You have to mute yourself because it's on and on and on. And then with the females, it's not always like that. So you have to learn how to, approach them, how to make them excited about the things they do. Because it's the same with bringing them in. When you look at the career path for women, I did a little bit of research on this. We're like the 1% in management, and when you talk about CEOs, founders, we're like the 1% right now. I think we're up to 1 to 3%, right? So when you look at that percentage, you talk about why should I give my time to it? That's what the other girls we are trying to bring in, because they want to see a reason why they should stay. And there aren't even a lot of like female-based only tournaments where they are sure they are going to win money or be signed on teams. So it's we're still building the ecosystem. That's what I'll just say. We're still building the ecosystem.
That's interesting, because I know Port Harcourt is a busy place, because I've heard about a lot of the activities coming up there. What will attract more girls to voluntarily come forward and participate and engage in FIG? Are we not selling the story right, or are we not in the spaces there we are able to locate them? Because I know Nigeria hosts a lot of things. I mean, you're at Omniverse now. There's the Hack 5.0. There's the current first Call of Duty. There's the Free Fire. There's the MPL. There are lots of activities happening. And whenever we travel to capture these events, we see more females. Is this a way of having to find ambassadors, or finding people who attract them, or do we need the girls to see it in a different way? How can we help in making female in gaming network more visible?
I think one of the things to do is to be consistent. So when we did the tournament in December, we had just a few guys compete, and the girls beat all the guys. At one point, I wanted to do like a separate thing, but I was like, no, let them play together. And the girls beat all the guys. There was no guy in top 3, in our tournament. And we had 120 participants, and there were no male winners. So it puts the perspective, that the girls are already doing good. But one of the things we need right now is push. We need people to say, hey, see, I want to have an all-girls team. I want to sponsor an all-girls team. I want to train an all-girls team. Or I want to sponsor an event, a tournament on the continent. It doesn't have to be physical. We have a lot of lands. It can be a virtual tournament on anything, That would help to motivate more of these women. Because like I said, if they see more people, being on the big stages, they're going to want to come out. If you look at current first Call of Duty Cup, I'm pretty sure that if the female teams register, they're not going to be, there'll be more than last year, but they're not going to be as much as the male dominated teams, because we still have the mindset thing, playing a role in their heads where they're like, I'm not going to get to the finals. So we need more people competing. So maybe female-based tournaments gradually, maybe every other quarter, we need people supporting that. Then female-based esports teams being trained and groomed, and then over time we can start to, the people who are now very active in the quarter tournaments can start to, play with their male counterparts. And I think that's one way to get the boom. I'm at Omniverse now, and many of the sessions have been women only sessions, and I am happy and impressed. And if I'm in the country, of course, next year I would love to be there. Those are the things that make us strive to want to be in those rooms. But if let's say I came here Monday, and it was just a male, like a male only panel, like the whole time. Somebody like me, I have gone to events and I've gone to tell the host, I'm like, no, we can't have just male, we need a female. But this one is already happening. So we're already seeing women dominating, the tech industry, and that's what I'm looking forward to in the gaming industry. And we have to spotlight the women. I mean, we have people like Bambina in Kenya, who's part of FIGN, who is doing her stuff with chess. So we have to spotlight these women constantly, continuously. We have people like Naomi in Cameroon. Naomi has films the Ox consoles. They've been to France a couple of times. So we continuously spotlight the people who are doing great, so that other women, other young girls can see that, oh, yes, there's a future for me here. And yeah, I think that'll help.
Yeah, I mean, you mentioned Naomi, you mentioned Bambina. Yes, these are just few of those people who are right at the top. I think somehow we're not seeing more of these wonderful people and the wonderful things they do. And so it's harder to sell the story, and more difficult to get people to appreciate that we in Africa have got, loads of great potential. Because, trust me, for someone to sponsor a tournament or to sponsor a team or to decide to train a team, they must be visible enough for us to see what they're doing. And this is where I think we are not helping, and we probably need to do better at this Esports Africa News by championing, a lot of, the things that you guys do. And again, then it comes back to we knowing. Like yesterday's article, I was quite impressed overnight on LinkedIn, the amount of engagement it got and the varied people who engage with it, which means people are interested in the topic, leading on to this conversation today. So people are interested in the topic, but it's being able to see what the other people are doing. And you mentioned, I was going to come to the wider Africa. You mentioned Bambina from Kenya and Naomi from Cameroon. 54 countries in Africa. That's a big network. How do you manage that?
Sometimes it's scary to think about the fact that it takes one thing to just go from here to here. And one of the things I'm doing, or we're doing at FIGN, is realizing that we're a partnership. So FIGN is more like a federation. I was speaking to somebody today, Dr. Bando. Yes, so Bando, he's part of the AU delegation, and he's at Omniverse. And I was telling him that one of the things I am doing, because I'm somebody that believes that we shouldn't start everything from scratch. There's no need for me to start creating new esports lessons, except it's the ones that probably already exist and I'm putting them together. There's no need for me to start creating a video games development, speech, or start teaching it from scratch when there are resources there, except the fact that there aren't a lot of ladies who teach game development, and I might want to do that later. But there's no need to create a lot of systems while we're starting. So that's why everybody is still their person while they're FIGN. So we're like the Federation of Women in Africa. Naomi is still Femmes de Os consoles. When you want to talk about the Cameroonian side of things, when you talk about Bambina, you have Faith in Uganda, who's doing her thing. You have people in Zambia. We have the Ghanaians. Everybody in their country. They still run their stuff. But then when we want to come together as a continent, we come under FIGN to operate and say, hey, see, we're the African continent and we're visible. So I think in terms of like having more countries join us over time, the fact that everybody knows that they're still individuals and they still have to, look at themselves and still manage themselves is something that would help us in the future, where we're not taking out their own individuality. Because let's be honest, as to every country has their own stories. In fact, a lot of African countries were merged. Like Nigeria has, I don't know how many thousand languages, a lot of us were merged. So when you talk about 57 countries, that's like I don't know how many thousand people and
Languages, yeah,
languages. So you want them to still bear their own individuality,
yeah.
but still know that as a continent we're one and we're doing great things.
No,
Yeah.
that's great. I think I like the idea that we can, though you're coming together as one, there's that individual country identity still kept in place, which helps because I like to give the example of Kenya a lot because they speak a lot of Swahili in their groups, and it sort of brings home. I keep using my Google Translate to check out the conversations because when you go into a Kenyan group, it's all about Swahili. But that's good. We're looking at the future, and we've seen a lot of international competitions. I know we keep talking about esports, but in the creative industry, there's loads of opportunities. In the game development, there's loads of opportunities. What is, or how? Where do you see Nigeria? Maybe where do you see yourself, Nigeria? Maybe the wider network in Africa, and how do you think we can actually do that? With the resources we have.
So again, I don't know if I'm supposed to talk about some of these conversations, but so I was once in Game of Africa, and one of the things I have told the team at Game of Africa is I can't wait for them to start their new courses because honestly, I don't want to restart anything. I'm going to use the tools that are available for me. So when it comes to like the creative side of things and the building part of things, especially in terms of game development, I am going to be outsourced because most of these programs, to be honest, are already free and they're there. It's just that a lot of women don't know about it. I mean, you have somebody like Joanna who came from Kenya, who's been I think she just came back from Germany recently. She's been to different parts of the world, because she was part of Game of Africa. So when you look at success stories like that, you look at me. I was in Game of Africa last year, around December, and I had to, pause my program at some point because I had to start FIGN, and FIGN was like, it was a lot of momentum, going from my first event to being sponsored by the French embassy. My next event, it was just a lot of momentum. So I had to take a pause, a breather. But I already had like I had experience and I wanted more experience. So now that I know those things and we have people like Joanna on the group in FIGN, we're bringing in more ladies. We're telling them, hey, see, when it's time, we want you to go register as a group, as a bulk. So there's something they do in Game Up where they put you in little tribes, right? So while you're in your tribes, you're still in FIGN. We literally have a group called Game Development. So you're there to tell us how it's going, how you're building, what you're building, if you need help or you need assistance, technical or maybe monetary. We look forward to having a fund, to help the ladies in the future. So that's where we're at when it comes to like the other creative side. And then when it comes to like animation and comics, I'm in talks with some of the leaders in Nigeria. So we're in talk with people, the comic community in Ibadan. We're in talk with the comic community in Port Harcourt. We're in talks with people that are in Abuja. So we're moving, and I feel like over time, even the animation community, we're in talks with them in Uyo, and then a few people in Lagos. I met some of them last year. I've been talking to them constantly. So I feel like the momentum is growing. And over time, I think this will be distant conversations. So it will be about growth and scaling. Yeah.
I can see the growth because I was just thinking all these places you've mentioned and some of the countries, I can picture the females who are in these spaces and who are connected to you. So now I'm thinking, special, yes, we've got the International Women's Day gone past, but I'm sure there are other moments ahead that we can have a joint celebration or a joint presentation by yourselves so that we can see more energy and more visibility of your activities. That would be interesting, especially for myself as I follow your story.
Yeah. We're planning something for the Day of the Girl Child. I'm talking with JJ about it because we're hoping that this year we could do, FIGN is like 6 months old, so we're hoping that we could do like something physical, but I don't see it happening. But my goal is that by the end of the year, somehow, I don't know how yet, we have maybe each stakeholder in a room. if not everybody from all the continent, but at least the four, like the major regions, we come together in a room. I'm not saying online. We sit down and then we talk about stuff, because that would be going from where we are to somewhere else. Even if that's probably, we don't do a big event like we did with the launch where we had 300 plus school women, and then we had about I think more than 50 people online from different parts of Africa Connect. I think that it will be nice for us to, sit down as a team and say, hey, this is what's happening in our continent, and this is how we want to go. So that's something I look forward to.
Well, that'll be interesting. Yeah, we'll look forward to hearing from you and seeing more of that for us to promote it. But yeah, Sophie, I mean, at the moment, I'm excited for you in so many respects, because we've been talking behind the scenes about the projects you do and all that. But one of the things I am keenly interested in to see is also the generation after you. How are you networking these schools, the universities, or communities where we've got these younger people?
Okay, so like I mentioned, one of the things I do, because they say charity begins at home. So one of the things I have been doing recently, personally, is it's funny when I say, but before now, Saturday used to be my sleeping time. I used to say, don't call me on Saturdays, because that's when I get to unwind. So I sleep into like the day. But because of my commitment to, to growing the esports industry and the gaming industry in general, I now wake up on Saturdays and we're doing esports 101. So I have taught and made lessons for 4 classes. We've talked about money. We've talked about content creation. We've talked about even how, like, the mechanics behind the games, so how games work. And that's one of the reasons I created the game for the esports, because I was trying to show them how it works and like the mechanics behind things. So for me, that's something I've told the team at FID, and one of the things we do is I make things that I do available. So the same thing with the ladies. So we make like our speeches, our activities, maybe if we're planning an event, we make it available to the core team so that we're able to peruse it and look at it and then give it to our nations and duplicate it. That would be repetitive. So instead of being repetitive, we duplicate what we already have and make it work. So by the time Esports 101 is done as a series, I'm going to compile everything together. I'm already compiling them. I'm going to compile it together and give it to every country and say, hey, see, just fix it to be the way it should be in your country. Just make tweaks to it, improve on the data, improve on the figure. Many of the things are the same. And then we duplicate it across the countries. We're introducing that to Esports 101 is for universities, for secondary schools. Personally, I have been reaching out to a lot of schools. I'm passionate about like you said, they are the future. They are the next generation. We are talking about 2050, right? Where Africa has the largest
population,
of youths,
under 35, yeah.
And in 2050, I'll be how old? I don't know how old I'll be. I'll be like in my 50s or something. But I have to, no, I'll not be up to 50, but close. But I'll have to look back and see that, okay, I dropped something for this generation and it's made them better, then. So that's what we're looking at. We're looking at developing these ones in secondary schools. We're already teaching them. One of the pathways on FIGN, I think I've shared a little bit with you before, is to actually go to secondary schools and teach them from gaming clubs for girls. Like I said, there's no problem to have boys with us. It's just desensitization first. Because even in their homes, with the secondary schools, that's what I said about the PS5s. You saw me, I think we were on a call before, where I was shouting, don't buy your girlfriend a teddy bear.
That's it. So PS5.
It goes down to secondary schools. I've been in a primary school, and I was speaking with some kids, and one of them ran up to me after the whole event. I was like, hi ma, I'd love to be in the game development, and this school has a game development club already, because there are schools that are really, really advanced already.
That's good.
And she's like, I want to be there, but my mama doesn't want me to join. And I'm like, when you go home today, tell your mom you met a game developer who is female, and this is what she's doing. And you know, it's exciting because now there is proof. There's real physical proof. When we were talking to the Omniverse, we were talking about policies and the private and governmental sector, and I contributed some things. But one of the things I noted in my spirit and in my mind, and one of these days, probably at our next roundtable, I'm going to mention it, is we have to also reach out to parents who may not necessarily be employers or be in this room. I mean, who are government officials? Their parents.
Yeah.
Who are the people in charge of private sectors? Their parents. Who are people in charge of the public sectors? Their parents. How are we reaching out to these parents to treat and you know, educate their youth on the future of, you know, technology, of Africa, of gaming, of policies? You know, we have to go to those foundations, those roots, because the truth is, actually, if I do 20 events and I bring these young ones out, and then at the 21st one, the parents say, no, you're not going anymore. Except you want to rebel and then probably become disowned. You've lost that child.
Yeah.
And that's the truth. You can't beat the parents. It's the parents' right. So we have to also educate parents and say, hey, see, listen, this is the future. You have to let your kids come out. You have to let your kids participate. You have to let them take courses in the creative sector, because that's what the world is spanning into, you know. And yeah, that's what we're doing.
No, that's exciting. More energy and more blessings for you. I'm really, really happy for you.
Thank you.
So yeah, thanks for your time. I know you're out there in Lagos at the Omniverse event, and you've just taken time off to speak to us. Really appreciate it, and we wish you all the best. And obviously, we're looking forward to be working with you as always at any time. Thank you so much, Sophie.
Thank you. Thank you very much for the privilege to always speak with you.